Hello everybody, in today's video we're going to be going over a upcoming pattern change. We're going to be dealing with some colder air, especially through the eastern United States, and then some milder air in the northern plains and out to the west. So we're going to be going over all of that and more, as well as giving you an update on the tropics, and also we're going to be updating you on how much rainfall to expect over the next 7 days. So all of that and more is in today's video, so make sure you are staying tuned all the way until the end. Here's what the current National Weather Service page looks like. As you can see, we have some red flag warnings in parts of the northwest and in through the southwest as well. We have flood watches, which kind of just are along parts of the Gulf Coast, and then we have a few heat advisories in Idaho. Other than that, we don't have many other watches or warnings currently in place. Yesterday we had a high temperature of 122 degrees in Death Valley, California, with a tide low temperature in West Yellowstone, Montana. They got down to 28. So did 13 miles north of White Sulphur Springs, Montana, and also 9 miles south of Albany, Wyoming. They also got down to 28 degrees Fahrenheit. And the highest rainfall report was in Macon, Missouri, where they got 3.96 inches of rainfall, and there were no snowfall reports yesterday. So taking a look at the tropics real quick, and then we're going to move over to the temperature pattern. You can see that we do have a 30% risk, or a fairly low risk for this development out just north of South America there. It's located just east of the Caribbean right now, and this is going to be heading further to the west. It is in a decently favorable environment. If it does manage to hold up, and if it takes more of a southerly track south of the major island chains in the Caribbean, I think it has a fairly good chance of developing because this area of water right in here is rather favorable for development. We have very warm waters. We have high amounts of OHC within that area. So all of that coming together, and if it that would kind of indicate that if it were to go further to the south, or if it were to move south of the main Caribbean island chains, then that could definitely become a bigger storm, and definitely something that we would have to pay attention to a little bit more. And looking at the satellite imagery of this storm, you can see that it is located north of South America. It's mainly just a disorganized cluster of storms. As of right now, we have a little bit of rotation. It will have to go through a little bit of Saharan dust, which is again just to the south of the Caribbean, and to the east of the Aleutian Islands, and that just in that area of kind of drier air, less favorable air, is just to the east of an area of much more favorable air. So if it can get through this patch of dry Saharan dust, that might break the system apart. If it can get through this area, it has a much better prospect of becoming a bigger storm out further to the west. So it's going to be really crucial to see how developed this can get before it heads into this area of dust, and how well developed it is still after this area of dust moves through it. So that's definitely going to be the two questions that I'm asking with this system. And of course, we're still too far out for any real forecast to be issued, just because we are still again 5 to 7 days out from this really becoming a decent system. And again, there is still some question marks, especially with this area of Saharan dust, which is in the eastern Caribbean. Now switching over to the temperature pattern, you're going to start to see that we're going to have a little bit of a trend where we have colder temperatures out through the east, especially as you head into the Tennessee Valley, the southeast, and the southern plains. And then we're going to have warmer temperatures in through parts of the northeast, maybe even into the Great Lakes and through the northern plains in the western United States. So we're going to be timing this out for you guys. In the blues, greens, and purples, that's where you're dealing with below normal temperatures. And then in the oranges, the reds, and the browns, that's where you're dealing with above normal or warmer than normal temperatures. This would be for tomorrow, and you can see that we have those below normal temperatures all throughout the eastern third of the country. And then you go through the central plains and into the northwest. We also have some warmer than normal temperatures there, maybe lingering on to a bit of chilly air out into the southwest. But other than that, it looks fairly decent for much of the country. We're not dealing with too many extremes on either side of the spectrum here. If we look at for Thursday, you can see that we have still some lingering lingering cold air for the east coast and the southeast, as well as for the southwest. We have warmer temperatures through the central plains and the northwest still. And if you live up in Canada, especially if you live on either coast of Canada, so for the western and eastern half of Canada, we're dealing with fairly warm temperatures. It's through the central column of the country where we might have a little bit of chilly air, especially as you get a little bit further to the north. If we look at for Friday, you're now starting to see that we have a little bit of cold air, this little air mass of cold air, which has been progressing further to the east every single day. So this is going to move into the eastern United States just as this other area of cold air is also moving in. So we're going to have pretty much a sustained period of chilly air over the next 7, 8, 9 days. It shall go back to a warmer pattern. Either way, I think it'll actually be quite nice to have some of these chillier temperatures, just because we're now getting into pretty much the heart of summer, late June into July, really one of the warmest times of the year, including August. So once we're getting into that time period, it's almost nice to get a colder pattern, just because instead of dealing with 90s, now you're dealing with maybe 80s or 70s, even in some of these areas. So that is definitely a lot more comfortable than dealing with temperatures even up into the triple digits or the upper 90s. So taking some chilly air this time of year, definitely nothing that's too bad. The warmer conditions, again, those are going to stay out further to the west, and this would be again by Friday. If we look at for Saturday of this upcoming week, we're now dealing with a bit of a ridge building in to the western United States. So you can't see the full ridge at this point. The center of it would be somewhere over British Columbia. So here's your ridge right here. It has kind of a shape somewhat like this. And that's generally where we're dealing with our warmer and drier conditions. We have a little area of troughing in through the central United States that kind of moves in like this. So we have a little bit of a trough right in here that's providing some of our colder temperatures, and because of that, we're going to have again a bit of a chillier pattern, especially into the late part of this week into early next week. So you can see that by Sunday, not a lot changes, and then by Monday, we have warmer temperatures into the northeast and also into the west, and then we have some of our colder temperatures out through the central and eastern United States, especially as you get a little bit further to the south. So looking at a couple of days forward here, you can see not a lot changes by Tuesday of next week as well. That ridge builds in a little bit deeper into the western United States. It's now starting to expand a little bit over the northern part of the country, but still, if you live in the southeast, the Tennessee Valley, even into parts of the Great Lakes and Central Plains, we're all dealing with below normal temperatures by that point. If we look at the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook from the Climate Prediction Center, you can see that we have some below normal or chillier than normal temperatures through the eastern, I would say eastern half of the country, especially as you get a little bit further to the south. We have a higher chance of being above normal between the 27th and the 1st of July in the areas of the northeast, the northern plains, and also the entirety of the west, and that would be your 6 to 10 day outlook. If we look at your 8 to 14 day outlook, which goes from the 29th through the 5th of July, you can see that we have below normal temperatures through the southeast, especially. So the southeastern corner of the country is where we have below normal temperatures, and then in through the west, the northern plains, and the northeast, we have our little area of above normal temperatures, and the highest area of above normal temperatures, or the most amplified area of above normal temperatures, are going to be out to the west, especially in parts of the northwest, where we could have temperatures getting maybe even closer to 15 or 20 degrees above normal at some points. If we look at the 3 to 4 week outlook, which goes from the 3rd through the 16th of July, you can see that we have below normal temperatures along the Gulf Coast and the southeast, and we have above normal temperatures pretty much for the entire northern half of the country and the western third of the country as well. Taking a look at the amount of rainfall, if you are worried about this, we have some elevated numbers, especially through the Great Lakes. So we do have a little bit of drought issues in through this area. Luckily, this will be kind of going away. We'll have the opportunity to get probably 2 or 3 inches of total rainfall over the next week or so. And also, if you live in the southeast where we don't have any drought issues, but still any rainfall, especially if it's in moderated doses, could definitely help. We do have some amounts of rainfall, 1 to 2 inches expected in these areas. It's going to be along the northeast where we're a little bit lacking in terms of seeing rainfall, mostly just half an inch to an inch over this entire week. And unfortunately, in through the western part of the country where we have those drought issues, not dealing with a lot of rainfall. There is some good news though. We are starting to see for the first time in a few months at least any resemblance of some rainfall, even 0.1 inches, 0.2 inches, and that can really help in a kind of pattern like this where we haven't seen any rainfall at all over the past 6 months in many of these areas. So at least we're starting to see 0.1, 0.2, 0.3 inches, and especially as we're going into a little bit more of an active time period for these areas, it should start to heat up a little bit. So luckily we are starting to erode at some of those drought issues, although still it's not a ton of rainfall, and we would of course like to see a little bit more. If we look at the 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook from the Climate Prediction Center, you can see that from the 27th through July 1st, we're expecting below normal precipitation in through the northern and central plains, as well as the northeast, or as well as the northwest, and then through the northeast, the southeast, and also the southern plains and southwest. We have some of those above normal areas of rainfall. So we are dealing with a little bit of relief, especially in through parts of the Four Corners in areas like Arizona and New Mexico, where we do have those major drought issues. Luckily, we're getting a little bit of rainfall there, although still we would like to see a little bit more, especially considering how drastic the drought is as of right now. So that is going to wrap it up for today's video. Please consider liking the video, subscribing, and turning on notifications, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.